You can't be blaming foreigners for all the misfortune that is happening here in South Africa. When it comes to employment, you blame foreigners for taking South African job. When it comes to health, you say foreigners are occupying the spaces and bed where South Africa is supposed to be staying for the doctor to take care of them. Now it's a school. Now you are blaming foreigners for taking the spot where South African kids should take for them to go to school. Now maybe these foreigners they apply for the school early, and South Africans kids apply for the school maybe late, and you are blaming foreigners. Everything is not foreigners. You can't blame foreigners for all the problems that are happening in South Africa. Whites are not foreigners, but only blacks are foreigners. It doesn't make sense. It's just like stereotyping black foreigners. That is what you are doing, my sister. South Africans are in other countries too. South Africa are the #1 migrants in Australia and New Zealand. Their kids are going to school in Australia and New Zealand. Nobody is harassing or complaining they are migrants over there. But when foreigners are here in South Africa, you, my sister, you complain foreigner are doing this, foreigner are doing that. Now you are complaining foreigner are taking the spot where South African kids supposed to be in that same spot, in that same school. You can't blame foreigners for all your problems. And for those South African kids, as you assume that since they are not going to school, they're going to be victim of these foreigners that sell drugs. If foreigners are selling drugs to any kid, they should be apprehended and sentenced to prison or be deported. That one, I don't support selling drugs to kids. I don't support that. But you can't be blaming foreigners for all the misfortune of South Africa. I'm living in South Africa. You can't be blaming foreigners for all the misfortune that is going on here in South Africa. My sister, please, foreigners are not your problem. Foreigners are not your enemy. We are all one.
Guys, I'm recording this video with absolute sadness in my heart at what I saw today. Today, when we went to Addington Primary School in the morning, the South African kids were making their way walking to the beach because they've got nothing else to do since they don't go to school. We had to call them back because it's not safe for them to walk to the beach. Foreign nationals have their kids in school, in Addington School, in numbers. I'm talking 2 or 3. One parent with 3 children, one parent with 2 or 4 children. It's a sight that I think all these clever blacks, man, I wish they can come there and see for themselves exactly what we're talking about when we talk about how painful the situation this is. Guys, South African children are not getting an education. Ingane ayifundi njengamanje. Sizibona ekuseni zihamba ziya ebeach zithi ziyobhukuda ngoba yikho enye into ezizoyenza ngoba azifundi. Esikoleni abakwazi ukusuka ngeenyawo kusona baye esikoleni, but they couldn't do that because the school is apparently full. And the department has allocated them by a Greyville, which their parents cannot afford. And they've said this over and over again. So the kids were at the beach, and foreign nationals' children are in full uniform going to school. I don't know if you understand what this means for the future of this country. Now think about the South African child walking around a point of all places, walking around because they're idle, they've got nothing else to do. This is when they get approached by drug dealers of all sorts who put them into drugs to either buy or to use. This is how a society gets destroyed, because you take away a right to education from a child and you give it to a foreign national who you have no allegiance to, and no you have nothing that prompts you to give them a public school education. If they want to get an education in South Africa, there are private schools. But we have to keep reiterating this, because they will tell you that it's the Constitution. The Constitution makes it clear that you provide what you have that is within your means as a government. If you don't have, you don't provide. And this is a part of the Constitution that people deliberately want to ignore. There's no constitution in the world that can envision that you'd want to provide everything to everyone, even if you don't have it, at the expense of a South African child. But we've got a government and politicians that are tone deaf, that would rather a South African child be exposed to drugs, than for you to take those children and put them in school. If you think Greyville is such an amazing option, why are you not taking children of foreign nationals to be the ones that spend money to go to school every day instead of walking to school like they always do? Guys, we've got a serious leadership problem in this country, and it is a crisis. Because if South African children do not get an education, and we keep opening ourselves up to every